Welcome to another edition of the Tiger Football Report. I'm your host, Spiro Marikas, along with the head coach of the Tigers, Pete Shinnick. And, Coach, Tigers get their first CAA victory of the year this past Saturday at New Hampshire on what was a big family day crowd for them. And it was, to say the least, an exciting game, 54-51, highest combined point game in Towson history of 105, breaking the record last year where the Tigers and Monmouth combined for 100. Previous to that, it had been Towson and New Hampshire in 2012 when the two teams combined for 99. Going into the game, I don't think you thought it was going to be a 50-something to 50-something football game.
No, did not think it would be that type of game, to be honest with you. And, those are great numbers to to hear. So, not quite sure we want to be, I'd rather have that be, we score 70 and the other team scores 35. That would be a better way of looking at that. No, when we went into the game, I really felt like we matched up well and could do certain things offensively against them. And I felt like we matched up well defensively as well to where, I knew they could score some points, but we felt confident that we'd be able to. Obviously, the game took on its own life in the second half. Where, now you're up 10, down 10, back, going back and forth, all of that. And I think anytime you get into one of those games, you're just like, okay, can I have the ball last? But as we went into it, love how we prepared and love that our guys found a way to, make it through the game. We talked about playing a 60-minute game throughout the course of all week long. And then it's like, all right, let's add a little more time to it and finish this thing the right way.
You look, Nate Kent, co-offensive player of the week this week. We have seen that as time has gone on this season, he is getting better and better every week, and that's what a coach wants to see.
Most definitely, and credit to him and the hard work that he put in to get to that place. He was sick all week long, had some stomach and some virus stuff that was going around. We had about 5-6 guys on the team get hit with that. He kind of got hit with it Thursday, Friday. So credit to him fighting through that and then showing up Saturday and really just playing, great football. Two of his touchdowns, he's getting clobbered while they're happening. Two others were great catches and great throws, and then one of his touchdown passes, just a fantastic read on the fly to hit Zay in the slot there, on the short one. So very pleased with him, very pleased with his growth. For us to be the team that I think we're capable of being, he's going to need to continue that, and he's going to need to, get better this week because we're going to be challenged this week as well.
Couple of performances. First of all, your offensive line. What a job they did. You had Devin Matthews and Diego Hunter both rushing for well over 100 yards in the football game. Nate had time to throw most of the time. They just did a tremendous job for you.
Yeah, all 5 of those guys played the entire game. The exciting part about that is they really improved from the week before. The week before, 2 of those guys were out, so it was good to get them back and be able to be at a complete full O-line for this game against what we thought was a very, very good defensive line. Again, both of their ends we talked about, how productive they've been and what their history has been. So for us, that was really the challenge going into the week. Our O-line's got to win against their D-line, and we've got to be able to establish the run game and give Nate time. And, to run for 300 is a great accomplishment against anybody, but to run for 300 against them, I think that's a huge accomplishment.
Before we move on to this week's game, a couple of plays I want to talk about. Zay Perkins' touchdown catch in the left corner of the end zone, one-handed. That was Odell Beckham-like, no question about it.
My goodness. When the ball was released, because that took place on the other sideline, when the ball was released, I was like, I don't know. It looks like that thing's going to go out of bounds. And then I just saw one hand go up across the field, and I'm like, oh, my gosh. And then everybody's cheering. I'm like, he caught that. That's fantastic. And then watching it on, they reviewed it and all that type of stuff, but then watching it on the replay, you're like, holy cow. That was a great, great catch. No doubt about it.
It certainly was. And then the next thing I want to talk about was you got 4th and 1, about 6 minutes left. You're down, and Nate Kent with the quarterback, I don't know if you call it a snake.
Naked boot.
Around the left side for 35 yards, which completely caught New Hampshire off guard.
Yeah, it was a great call by Brian Shepard. He had talked about that during the week in meetings. He goes, I feel like we can hit it front side, which we did one time in that formation. And then he goes, the next time we do it, he goes, I'm coming back with the naked boot. And I mean, there were two guys outside. Both of them dove in. Nate's fake was awesome. I mean, it was, complete Brett Favre-ish. I mean, it was, he hit it, handed it. It looked like our running back had it, and then he got out of there and really set up the score that we needed in that moment.
Yeah, just a great fun football game on Saturday afternoon. Fun after it was over. During the game, I'm sure there were times you weren't thinking it was too much fun.
No, there were moments there. It was like, wow, all right. Because to overcome, very rarely do you win a game when you get a punt blocked for a touchdown. When you get a punt blocked, you might be able to win the game. But when you get a punt blocked for a touchdown, it's hard to overcome that. And that put them up 10. And then to see our guys fight back and get back to where they were, that was fantastic. So credit to our guys for just, continuing to fight, continuing to find a way to play hard through the process. So very exciting to see.
All right, exciting this week. It's homecoming. UAlbany comes to town. They are undefeated in FCS football. They're 3-2,
yes. But
their two losses are to FBS Marshall and Hawaii, both very close football games. First thing that stands out is we talked last week about New Hampshire's defensive line. They've got two guys that have combined for 15 sacks. They've got 23 sacks overall in their first 5 games.
Yeah, and both those guys lead the conference in sacks. They're 1 and 2, and one of them leads the nation in sacks. So that statistic jumps out to you immediately as to, okay, who are these guys and what are they doing? And as you mentioned, they're undefeated in FCS play. So they played up twice and played very, very good against both Marshall and the University of Hawaii.
And Marshall's undefeated.
Correct. And both of those games, they easily had opportunities to win them in the end. So as we look at this, it might be the best team we've faced, might be as good of defense as we've faced, and they are very efficient on offense. They've got the ability to make explosive plays, and defensively, we talked last week. New Hampshire always in the right place, always doing the right thing. Albany is a better version of that as to what we're seeing, and it all starts with their D line. So once again, our O line is going to be challenged and challenged heavily.
Well, and the thing is, they've got all these sacks, but then you look, and they're only giving up 85 yards a game. Their opponents rushing the ball 85 yards a game. So they're efficient against the pass and the run.
They really are. And part of those rushing yards, obviously, is they've got those 23 sacks, which are all tackles for losses and takes away. I think, looking at it statistically, and again, we're going to do what we do, but you go, man, this is a great challenge for us. And so to have them at home in Johnny Unitas Stadium, we have not played well at home for 60 minutes. We've shown bits and pieces of what we're capable of doing. So we need our best this week to get done against what I think is, a really, really good UAlbany team.
All right. I wish we had time to talk a little bit about their offense, but we're out of time. Game time, 4 o'clock this Saturday. Gordy and I will have it for you on Flow TV and TowsonTigers.com. So for the head coach of the Tigers, Pete Shinnick, I'm Spiro Marikas. Thanks for tuning in to another edition of the Tiger Football Report.